All right, everyone, welcome back. How was your weekend? Great. So this week we're going to be combining both English reading and writing skills, or what we've been covering these previous weeks, with a little bit of history. So this week we're going to cover the American Civil War. Now, what does anyone know about the American Civil War? Yeah, right. It was a war between the North and the South. Mm-hmm. President Lincoln was president during that time. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, slavery was a huge concern about the conflict at the time. And we can go a little more in depth with that. And seeing as this is an English class, we can't cover everything. But mainly we want to focus on some critical analysis, and we want to look at some historical readings and such for you to try to comprehend what they are exactly saying. So today we are going to look at some short historical documentaries from the American Battlefield Trust. And what that video will do is it's going to explain a little bit of the history and what they were doing and saying at that time. So you really have to listen to see what they're saying, or to hear what they're saying. In addition to seeing visually how they saw things at that time. So along with that short documentary video, you're going to have to look at some interactive maps to get an idea of what exactly they were thinking in terms of how they moved their armies and stuff. And then a critical thinking question we really need to think about is, why is this conflict important today? Why is this important for us to be able to understand, for example, culture, or how we even read and write today? Because at that time, soldiers on the battlefield would, read and write about their experiences all the time, as kind of like what we're doing during class every time with our journals, right? So we're going to look deeper into that, and in addition, we're going to kick things off with a short quiz. Now, this short quiz has a short reading to it that will take like 10 or 20 minutes to go over. And then right after, we'll go over the answers, and we'll hear your thoughts about why we think these answers are right or wrong. So, does that make sense? Cool. Let's get to it. All right, so we should have finished the reading. We took about 10 to 15 minutes on that. That's all right. Let's jump right into things. So, number one, how many states did the U.S. have at the start of the Civil War? Yeah. I hear 34, 28, 34, 34. So, A, 34. 2, why did the people of South Carolina vote to secede? What did we read in the passage that alluded to that? Yeah. They disliked Abraham Lincoln's foreign policy. Upset over high taxes. C? I hear C. They thought slavery and secession were their constitutional rights. Number 3, what happened at Fort Sumter? So if you remember in the reading, Fort Sumter was the first fort conflict began around. So basically became the catalyst for the war. So A, the Union garrison refused to surrender to the Confederates. B, the Confederates attacked the Union garrison. C, the Civil War officially began. Or D, all of the above. I hear A, I hear D. So we think D, all of the above? Let's go for it. Number 4, how did the Union cut off the Confederacy's main source of income? Did they, A, they burned their crops, B, they stole from them. C, they freed runaway slaves. Or D, they blockaded the Confederacy so that they couldn't sell cotton to Europe. What do we think? I hear A, D. I'm hearing more D's. D. So we go with D then. All right. Number 5. Which was the bloodiest battle of the Civil War? The first Battle of Bull Run, the second Battle of Bull Run, the Battle of Gettysburg, or the Battle of Fort Sumter? Here, Fort Sumter, Gettysburg, Fort Sumter. Let's see. All right. Go with Fort Sumter. All right. We'll get our correct answers after the quiz, so we'll go over those. Number 6, what happened in April of 1865? General Grant outmaneuvered General Lee. General Lee surrendered in Virginia, ending the war. President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Or D, all of the above. I hear D, all of the above. All right, so let's all submit our quiz and see the answers that we got. Number 1 was A, 34. Number 2 was C, they thought slavery and secession were their constitutional rights. Number 3 was D, all of the above, for what happened at Fort Sumter. Number 4 was also D, for they blockaded the Confederacy, so they couldn't sell their cotton to Europe. Number 5 was actually C, the Battle of Gettysburg. And number 6 was D, all of the above, for General Grant outmaneuvered General Lee. General Lee surrendered in Virginia, ending the war, and President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. So we got a pretty general idea of part of the history of what happened in the Civil War with this reading. And it's very brief, but it packs a lot into it that we can't exactly, jump into in this course. But we're going to do our best to pick out the main themes and ideas. And later this week, we're going to write a short paper about which themes you think are most important to this history and how they affect us today. So that's really what we're trying to cover. Does that make sense? Perfect.